people have always made you doubt what it is that you're trying to do, or to doubt your vision. I mean, for us creatives is, you can pitch the greatest idea to someone or the greatest campaign to someone, and someone will have 50 things to say about something you created. They haven't even tested it or whatever. They've just said, it sucks. But you believed in it. You need to make that happen. So you need to believe. If I could speak to, say, 19-year-old me, believe, bro. Because if we didn't believe, we wouldn't have had that beer garden. If we didn't believe, we wouldn't have gone to Ghana. We wouldn't have then come out with a partnership with Jerk and Jollof, partnership with Afro Nation, Afro Chilla, Everyday People, whatever it is. Do you know what I mean? Because we believed.
From Kona Juda and Dipia, Imini Msindiswesi, Umvelisen Rangomeliswesijwe, formerly known as Wazi Madonsel, bringing you a show about creative entrepreneurs live from the landmark that not only birth SA street culture, but also formalize the street hustle. Kona Juda and Dipia special edition, David Mkwanazi edition. If you're looking for the fundraiser, we have him, the man, the myth, the legend.
Don't call me.
The connector, the multi-hyphenate, Mhlanganisi. How you doing, bro?
I'm all right. Surviving, man.
I see you thriving, you're doing your thing. You've been part of almost everything we know, or the result of that being there.
100%.
How does it feel to be someone who's always in the mix, but knows when to leave the party?
I would say, how does it feel? I suppose the trick is to always know when to leave, right? It's always strange to think that people always need you in such different capacities. You can be here and you're serving this purpose, and you can be here and you're serving that particular purpose, but people always need you or a version of you to kind of complete their purpose. So yeah, I think I'm just super easy about it. It's sometimes very frustrating, creates a lot of anxiety, but super easy about it.
I think you're the most perfect person to answer this question that most young creators are facing right now. How do you build relationships in a business sense?
So the best way to build relationships, I think the best way to build relationships and maintain them is to deliver. People like a person that is reliable. You must be able to deliver on what you said you were going to deliver on. I remember earlier you were saying you must do what you're going to do when you said you're going to do it. And I pride myself in being that, because everything that I've either guaranteed or said we could achieve, we've achieved. Do you know what I mean? Or gotten close to achieving it. And if we fail together, because I'm super involved like that. But you need to always be a reliable person. You need to be able to deliver when you need it, and you need to be able also to be able to do it under immense pressure and still do it at the best of your ability and still make it look as seamless as possible, because people always think that what we do is so easy. I was joking with someone yesterday. I was like, people will call me and say, I need a strategy for A, B, C, D, whatever. I want to get this brand, that brand. And they want it tomorrow. And I have to now sit and research all these things. It takes me about at least another 10 hours just to figure out what it is that you were talking about before I even put pen to paper. So it is very important to also manage expectations while you're delivering, but you must always deliver. Be reliable.
What does it take? Let's say we host a party, or let's say we're trying to strategize a solution for a brand or company, or myself.
Yeah.
What does it take to do the build-up to the solution? How do we get to the end result where we execute it?
I think, so firstly you start, there needs to be a plan, right? From the plan, you come to me, you brief it in, then we sit down, we workshop the plan. Because usually what happens is somebody will come with the plan and say they want a purple flag. Meanwhile, the purple flag does not work. So it's our job then to sit there and kind of sway you in a different direction while still maintaining the integrity of your initial proposal. Like, this is what you want. We'll create this, but let's create it in a way in which it works in the market. So if you want a purple flag, but the market is currently consuming a green flag, I need to kind of get you to a place where you're okay with us producing a green flag for you. So it's just a matter of just workshopping the idea, sit together, co-create. Co-creation is a very important aspect of what we do. I don't believe in just getting a brief and then sitting at home and doing it and then calling you with the end product. I want you to be part of the decision-making, the font, the language, the presentation, the aesthetics of it. How is it going to live in this environment? Would you buy into it if you were not part of the brand? If you're not the brand custodian, would you be? If you saw an ad on TV that says, "Come join us tomorrow, we're having a dinner," whatever, would you come? How do I sell it to you? How do I make it relatable to you, to your market, to whatever? So it's all about workshopping together and co-creating. Co-creation is such a very big aspect of what we do. A lot of people sleep on it because people have entered this phase of super professional. This is what we do. We get a brief, we do this, whatever, we send it out. Nobody does the old school way of just, let's talk about it. I mean, I think that's why big agencies have huddle rooms. Because in a huddle room, there's no rules, right? You sit there and you literally for 3-4 hours, you're looking at the same idea, but everybody is giving different versions of what they think that would look like or how it should be. So workshop, work in conjunction with the client or with the person who ever gave you the brief, and then I promise you, the result is it's magic because everybody's happy with what's produced, and if it fails, we created that failure together. So we're gonna fail together type thing. But yeah.
Speak of the huddle room, I heard about you doing writing camps during COVID.
Yeah.
And that was part of the come up of the agency.
Yeah.
Can you run us through what that is and how far?
Yeah.
And what's the actual end goal?
So basically, the culture of the writing camp, which is something that we were some of the very first people to actually do that during very tough times in South Africa, is you get a bunch of artists in the same, you get like a nice house, maybe 6-7 bedroom house, get a bunch of producers, different rooms, so different rooms, different sessions, but those artists rotate those rooms throughout the day, sharing ideas, sharing concepts. What usually happens at these camps is that then international major labels will send in briefs. Say, for example, we are currently working on, say, for argument's sakes, we're working on Beyonce's new album.
Sure.
And we need about 6 tracks from you guys. So what we'll do is then we'll organize a camp, invite a bunch of people into that camp and different producers, so everybody writes, puts in different elements, and then those 6 tracks will get presented to Beyonce. And out of those 6 tracks, she'll probably pick like 1. And then that's it, that's the writing camp. But what happens is a lot of the material that's created at the writing camp sometimes finds itself on an album. Some of it ends up being on a project or whatever. I've been to quite a few writing camps that some we hosted, some we were just attending, but nothing came out of it. I think our most recent one, which was a super successful one, is we did a Jurex writing camp with Muzi, Blackie, Seho, and everybody else, and a lot of artists from Blank Spaces Records, which is the record label that I'm also a part of. So we managed the entire process, so from creating the music, mastering the music, getting it out there.
So you guys did the music until did the eventing?
They did the agency aspect of it. So we did the record label aspect of it, and then they went to market with it, they did a really, really good job.
How do you get that type of deal? Is it something you guys went and presented it, or it was something that came to you?
So because of our history with the majors, right? We get referred quite a lot. You'll find there's, say, for example, again, for argument's sake, say a Sean Paul or whatever comes into the country and is looking to record some music while he's here. They'll be like, oh yeah, Blank Spaces has studio space available. They have a bunch of producers there, because we do have award-winning producers that produce some of the biggest songs in the world right now. And then you come in, we'll record, we'll write with you, we'll produce with you. We've got engineers, we do all of that with you, but usually happens through referral. I mean, you do pitch. They do open up to pitch, but the music game is not really like the corporate game. Like, it's not like you're going to go open up a newspaper and you can read about how you can pitch for or whatever. It's just really about being in the space, networking with the right people, the right label execs. We've made really, really solid, strong relationships with all the majors that exist within our ecosystem. So whenever briefs come into them, they filter them down to us, because a lot of the stuff, they can't do it, whether it be a capacity issue or, I don't know, whatever reason, but they'll pass it down.
Blank Space Records, you give us Never Rush a Sunday.
100%, yeah.
But before that, what led you to Never Rush a Sunday? I think
Okay,
that's
cool. That's the real story. It's such a cool story. So before there was Blank Spaces Records, there was a little baby called Of Boyz, right? Yeah, he was sitting with you just now. So Of Boyz started off the back of a single called Of Boyz, right? Which was led obviously by Tuli Stark. So we then formed a little organization called Of Boyz Records, which then started to host a little Sunday situation called Of Boyz Sundays. Of Boyz Sundays was a little gathering that we'd have like a spit braai, we'd invite friends from the industry. Again, it was a networking opportunity for us. So we would invite literally whoever is hot right now or doing something really dope in the industry, whether you events, film, creative, you would be at that braai. And this would happen, I think, once a month. No, we first used to do it literally every Sunday. Then obviously people had real lives the next day, so we moved that to like once a month we would have it. Because it started to get a little bit expensive to do it because like it was a free event. Yeah. We would get brands. I mean, we had brands such as Sky Vodka, Red Bull, Savannah. We had some really, really cool brands on board. But it was free. So there was no ROI really for the brands. They were just really there for awareness. And that's what happened. And then Of Boyz happened and, as good things do, they end. But everyone's still cool. There was no beef, obviously, because this happened between the transition between COVID and the normal world, right? So when COVID came, we needed to find, something to do or something to keep the lights on. And then this is when this brainchild, when these two guys that I mentioned to you earlier, Michael and Anu, created this little baby called Blank Space Records. I obviously came in from a marketing and consulting perspective, obviously ended up becoming a partner in the business, and then fast forward a few years, I'd say maybe a year and a half, 2 years, we formed this little baby called Never Rush a Sunday. Funny enough, right, the first Never Rush a Sunday, the venue that we were supposed to use canceled on us on the day of event. Crazy. Like the day the event has to happen, we changed the venue. We sent out a blast to change the venue, I think at like 12 that day. The event's supposed to start at 2 p.m. Crazy. But we still sold out. People still came. Big shout out to people for always showing up, And then from there, fast forward a year later, it's now a global event property.
Going back to Never Rush a Sunday, which leads us to Afrochella and Afro Nation, right?
Yeah.
How do you export South African culture? Because a lot of us say, I'm a piano to the world. We say we invented things, but how do you then take those things, package them, and sell them?
Sell it, yeah.
Over rivers.
Sell it over all the rivers. It's such a crazy story actually how that came to be. So I used to work at a little shop called Mediacom, and at Mediacom I used to be one of the brand guys on Coca-Cola. And then there was a lady that also worked at Mediacom by the name of Lois Darko. She is from the UK. She was in South Africa for a little while, so she was also working there. But we became friends during that time, but literally disappeared from each other's lives for like maybe 5-6 years, and then went to Strictly Soul one night, bumped into her, and I was like, yo, shit, what are you doing with your life right now? And she's like, no, I'm doing this thing called Afrochella. I was like, oh, I've heard of Afrochella, whatever, but we're doing some really, really cool stuff. We might even want to branch out to do some stuff in South Africa. And I mean, immediately as soon as she said that, light bulbs, right? So I'm like, okay, how do we get into the room with you guys? How do we assist you in hosting?
Keyword
assist you in hosting in South Africa. And then one thing led to another. Before you know it, that December came, we're in Ghana. But now, here's the gag. We were in Ghana as content creators. We just wanted anything to get in, right? Like, we were going to get into that world stage. Doesn't matter the cost. So what we did is we went because also as part of our company, we have a creative studio as well. So we took our team, paid for everything out of our pockets, no sponsor, no nothing. We did about 8 days in Ghana, So what happens in Ghana is a little phenomenon called Dirty December. Dirty December is something that all of us have been watching on Instagram, on the internet, always wanted to be a part of it. So they have event properties such as DLT, PVO, Everyday People, Jerk and Jollof, and then the last being Afrochilla, which is now Afrofuture. But at the same time that year, when Afrochilla was happening, Afro Nation was also happening in the country. They had Mick Mill, Rema, and then there was another festival also happening in the country at the time called, what's the name of that festival? It had Erykah Badu, Dave Chappelle, it was crazy. It had Chance the Rapper. Obviously, I have a previous relationship with Chance the Rapper, so we got to connect during that time. But then that happened, and then we were in the mix of all of that. So we're getting to see these guys actually execute what we execute here back home as just another Sunday event or another Saturday event. But these guys have Lucky Day at like 4 a.m. performing. They have Major League at like, you get what I'm saying? Like crazy artists, like your favorites. I mean, like if you see Will Smith, it's probably normal. Like that's how crazy it is. And this is the whole time. So what was fascinating for us is that all of these companies or all of these brand entities or brand properties that were activating there is guys that started in America, but were originally from Africa, So we were like, why aren't we part of this circle of event properties, and why can't we have a piece of this pie? Because also, crazy enough, what's making all these events popular is Amapiano. And we are the custodians of that culture, right? So what we did is, obviously we spent a lot of time, went to all these parties. I'm not gonna make it seem like it was boring and tedious. It was really a lot of fun. Literally, people go to bed at 12 the next day, like in the afternoon. You still go to a breakfast spot. Like you get to your last event at 2 a.m.
That's crazy.
and then you party until like maybe 10 a.m. 10 a.m. you go to a breakfast spot, then you maybe go sleep for like an hour or two, then attend a panel discussion, maybe you're sitting on one. And one of the things also that made us go to that particular thing, Revolt was going to host a Revolt Summit in Ghana also that time.
Charlemagne was there.
Yeah. I'm a big Revolt fan. I like their origin stories. So I wanted to go to that. So I was always like, gonna go to that. But then that also gave me the idea, like, why is it that we just focus on the party element of what we do? Like, we don't do information exchange sessions. And when you go to those things, you see how they prioritize. So TuneCore will host something, YouTube will host something, Spotify will host something. Every day there's like... Shout out to Spotify one time. So every day there's like something happening, but it's all like an ecosystem of just entertainment.
Sure.
And it's like being done by people your age. Like it's not like old white people or old, you know.
It's relatively new people.
Relatively new people, but doing those really, really cool things. And I was like, again, another light bulb, like, we can do this. Let's sit. And then we came back home, obviously, very motivated, very inspired. Obviously, I'll never lie to you. Our lives haven't been the same since that trip. So much has happened since we went to that trip. I will always advise to people, it's like Afro Nation in Portugal, whatever, if you have the opportunity, go. The business connections that you make on those trips, money can't pay for it. Like, it's so crazy. So we went on that trip, came back, and then Kholikatla Sikiti, also known as Fricky, and Stephen of Kent, dope artist, also signed under Black Spaces Records. Started to go to these R&B pocket events that were happening in and around Joburg and whatever, just to kind of get inspiration, because we wanted to create something authentic that's not piano. So we wanted to shift away from the piano, because we went to go see that, so people are still consuming R&B. People are still, dude, it was 4 a.m. in the morning, fireworks, Sade is playing in the background. Like, these guys are still consuming R&B. So how do we package that for our audience and then take that still and take it back to those guys where we saw it from, but still make it very South African, you know? They came up with this idea, they pitched it to the team, told us, yo, guys, there was a playlist happening at the time, run by These guys, Tom Saison and Arnold.
Yeah.
Yes. So they were running a playlist called Never Rush a Sunday. They had a playlist on Spotify.
That's crazy.
That's crazy, right? They're called Never Rush a Sunday.
Yeah.
So we were like,
Never rush a Sunday.
Never Rush a Sunday. So obviously we called them up, like...
IP wars.
Yeah. No, before we even get to the IP wars, right now we're just like, you think they'd be down to do it with us? Because, we didn't even come to them from a big brother perspective. We came from...
Do you want to partner?
Do you guys want to partner with us, whatever? And, as luck would have it, the gents were down for the idea. We tried, but because of their capacity and whatever they were working on at the time, because I remember Saison Sundays was just booming. They just signed on a brand. They were getting into a whole growth path, which is really, really good for them. We support them always. So they decided to bow out. And obviously, the event property named Saison Sundays and the playlist named Never Rush a Sunday. So they kept the playlist. We went with the event idea. Because obviously, keep in mind, we are wired now. Like, we've just come back from this, oasis of groove. So we want to recreate that groove element that we saw over there. So they're like, we went to a few side Reikis together, whatever. They literally bowed out, I think maybe 2 weeks or 3 weeks before the actual execution. We were going through with it. Like, we had decided we are doing this. Like, there's nothing, if we have to do this from our pockets, we are doing it.
Pause.
Yeah.
Gotta stop you there, right? We have these ideas, we want to execute these ideas. These ideas are executed, right?
Yeah.
The reason I'm pausing you is because you come into this whole thing as the commercial mind.
Yeah.
How do you commercialize ideas?
An idea needs to be able to speak to consumers and to brands. I need to be able to sit at, again, for argument's sake, Sprite, and be able to tell them that this little thing that we've created will answer all of the problems you have for the year. So we can answer, you see your KPIs, you, brand manager or marketing manager, I can meet your KPIs through this particular vehicle. Or my property can become the vehicle to meeting your KPIs while I'm achieving my ROI. Do you get what I'm saying? So the way to make it commercial, it needs to be attractive. It needs to be palatable. It also needs to be very, very sellable. Like, you can't walk into Never Rush, for example, and there's, I don't know, niggas with torn jeans, and that's not the theme, because maybe one day we might go the route. Torn jeans. You
need a denim sponsor for that, though.
That's what we're doing. Big announcement later today. And also it can't be an environment where, for example, the women aren't safe. You as a consumer are not safe. It needs to basically almost speak to all the brand ethos or the brand guidelines that corporate has for it to be commercial.
We have to break it to I'm 19, I think I'm dope.
Yeah.
How do I get a partnership? What's the roadmap?
Okay, here's the roadmap. Okay, so I'm 19, I want to host an event. Firstly, here are the things you first need to host an event. You need stage. You need, actually, before we go anywhere, you need venue. You need venue, you need a bar, you need toilets, you need electricity. We live in a country where I have to say that. You need electricity. You need a plan. Not necessarily a business plan. I know we all went to school and they tell us, if you have an idea, business plan, SWOT analysis, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. It really doesn't work that way. You need to be able to kind of, then after you've figured out these 5 things or 10 things that I've mentioned, you need to be able to say, I have things that will benefit you as a brand commercially. So whether it be influencers, whether it be promotional stage, whether it be activation space, whether it be, you need to, as the 19-year-old that's about to host this really big production, say, do I have these things? Am I attractive? Like, do I have a clean social media page? Do I have X amount of followers? Who are the people coming to the event? What is their reach? What is the people that follow them's reach? I go that deep, like, because it's all a trickle down. It all trickles down to reach, right? And reach is our biggest commodity as marketers. That's one thing. That's one thing we have, like, in our. That's our big kamehameha. You know, like, we have reach. We have reach, and we have presence, and we have influence. So, does your event tick those boxes? What is trending right now? Are brands doing influencer campaigns? Are they doing awareness campaigns? Are they doing social media campaigns? What can you create in this property that speaks to that? And that makes it very easy for a brand to say, listen, I'm hearing you out. But most importantly, what are you doing at the bar? Because remember, most of these commercial deals speak a lot to sales. So for example, again, Valpre will give you, and this is because I just don't want to market people for free. Valpre will give you, a bottle, will give you, say, 20,000, but then your buy-in is X amount, right? But you see, then the trick is you have to then go back to your venue and say, please do me a solid. Here's my requirements from brand. This is how much they need to get involved. This is how much I need to buy of the product to get involved. Can you stock this amount and shave it off whatever percentage split that I have with you? And then I go back to brand and say, listen, your buy-in is X amount, got it. So I'm still meeting those KPIs of X amount needs to be bought in before we can give you X amount and X amount of branding. So I go back to them and say, cool, you want me to buy 20,000 Rand worth of stock? Got you. And I'll give you exclusivity on the bar. Your logos will be rotating throughout the day. I've got this, and that person on the lineup. Technically, those are my influencers. They're going to be pushing the brand. Here's their reach. If you need to know, if you were paying...
How are they technically your influencers?
Those guys are brands.
So I'm booking Oscar Mbo.
Oscar Mbo is a brand.
Sure. How's Oscar Mbo an influencer for my event?
If Oscar Mbo speaks or posts about the event, he's immediately become an influencer for my event.
Are we supposed to capture those numbers?
You're capturing those numbers. In your reports, you do speak about his reach. His reach does come back.
Do you send this in the proposal or in the report?
So unfortunately, actually, backtrack. I have a theory where I believe in case studies, right? Mm-hmm. You have to create a case before you can go ask for money. And I know it's
how do you build a case?
100%. I'm getting to that. So
You're here for the real question.
Yeah, this feels like I'm in court. So
you can't plead the fifth.
Yeah. So you have to build a case.
Sure.
Marketing 101. If you studied marketing, you know that a case study is what gets you money for the next event or the next project or the next campaign or whatever it is, right? So if it means I need to host this project that I was going to do at 19, by the way, that's the example we're still going with, that I was going to do, and I was going to do this event, and I was going to need 30,000 or whatever. I then need to come back and think of how I'm going to do this event, possibly for free. And then once I've done this event, I invite you, I'll invite a Nomsa or Smangmang who has 10,000 followers. Maybe Smangmang is the best dressed, Ntonton or whatever. I bring you into that fold, do this event. On social media, I am booming. It looks like I am hosting the best event in the world, right? I then take that data that I collected from that little pitch, I go back to brand and say, guys, I need X amount, and this is why.
Sure.
Because now I have a leg to stand on. Now I'm saying it with my chest. I'm not even whispering it. Like, I need X amount. Can you meet me here?
Also, it's best to do it post.
Post.
You'd rather go into your first event with your investment, if possible.
If possible, and again,
capture all the data.
and I want this to be very clear. I know it's very difficult to do anything for the first time by yourself, but one thing we've learned, or what I've learned, is there's always someone willing to support your dream, right? There's always someone who's willing to invest just a little bit into this crazy idea. I mean, if people didn't invest in these crazy ideas that we have, we wouldn't have anything, right? But there's someone. But also, at the same time, there's so many other ways to make your event happen, right? You can get somebody to do your bars for free.
Yeah.
They just want to be there, brand-wise. They might not give you cash, but they might physically be there.
What are the types of sponsorships? Because a lot of people view these things. Even me, at some stage, ask myself, yo, what does sponsorship mean? Because sometimes you're always looking at it like, I know one guy 5 million. And that sometimes
It looks like
5 million.
The power of illusion.
5 million also.
The power of illusion in this thing that we do is so hectic. Because you can come to an event that has, in your eyes, there's 2,000 people here. These guys are clocking $1 million at that bar. You can come to me on Monday and we have the same conversation and I'll tell you that that bar probably only made 300K. Because of all these other elements that we spoke about earlier, where were there enough people? Did you get the right target audience in terms of like their spending power? Because what we do is we run a matrix where we run hypothetical, like, I would say theories or scenarios, right? Where we like, given everybody comes to the event and spends 250 Rand, how much does that make us? And how does that amount factor into our overheads? Does that cover our overheads? Does that whatever? So we work on different scenarios. We always work on worst case scenario. You must always work with worst case scenario. And I'll tell you why. When I was younger, one time, we worked on best case scenario. Had a 7-day beer garden with no sponsor. No sponsor. We went and found a tavern, actually, in Tembisa. But this guy happened to be SAB's biggest purchaser. Like, he was like their biggest client.
That's crazy.
This guy has a full street with just crates all the way, just crates of like beer. I don't know, please don't ask me how we found this guy. Found this dude, got him to supply us with the beer. So now we have the beer. Yeah. But now what do you need to make a beer garden look like a beer garden? We need the branding. Yeah. This dude, because he was SAB's biggest client, they said fridge, they said bars, they said...
For free or rental?
For him it's free because he's the guy. So he obviously probably put in a proposal to say he's doing an event or whatever. So now we then had to hop over the liquor license hoop. Yeah. We had to hop over the health license because we were selling Boerewors rolls and whatever. So obviously I came up with a genius idea. I don't advise that anyone does this. We said we are running a promo for SAB. That's what we went to market with. We are doing a promo for SAB. It's free beer tasting. And then how we proved that it was free beer tasting is that everybody inside, there was no exchange of money. This is before everyone was doing Snap Scan and what. We came up with, we said, yo, you guys buy tickets at the door. We'll give you 15 coupons if you buy 15 coupons, but the only thing you can exchange inside for goods is this coupon. So every day when the cops came, because they came every day, like for that 7 days.
You know why it's crazy? Because you can technically give away alcohol.
You can give away, no, but you can give away alcohol, but you can't sell alcohol with a license. So we had gone around that little problem. So every day when the inspectors they would send the chief commander of like that particular department. That's the guy who would come every morning with his squadron and whatever. And immediately, because I was always at the door, so I'm the first person you speak to. So I'm like, every day I'll tell them, we're doing a marketing, because we were all marketing students. I think we probably had like 2 accountants on the team. Everyone else was studying BBA. It was all marketing. So we told them we were raising funds for our next market day at school. Because we did this literally a few blocks from school.
Sure.
But now, the way we marketed it to the school and to the world was that it was the school's official beer garden, because they had never had one. Because they had never had one.
I don't like using this word, but you're a scallop. No, it's the genius behind it.
Yeah, it's so wild.
Because now you're avoiding the alcohol rules. You're also avoiding the time stopping.
But what we are like 19, 20. We have no idea about jog. We have no idea where to find money to.
Do you think it's easier
to do a beer garden?
Do you think it's easier to start a business by moving blindly to the legalities?
Look,
in order to achieve that, the imminent, very immediate goal of execution.
Look, the problem is the landscapes are different now.
Because you guys broke all the rules, they figured out the game plan.
I mean, look, Woodstock broke the rules first, please. we just came and lived by their rules. But the landscapes are so different now. We come from an era, and we always speak about it like it's such a long time ago, but this is like now. We come from an era where, you know, it was cool to hustle that way. You had to lie your way into the boardroom, unfortunately, you know, because there weren't many opportunities for, you know, people of our skin color, if I'm being honest, in this space we're in. Yeah. We had to do so many things so differently. Like we had to maneuver, we had to finesse. We finessed. finessed. Dude, I finessed Kent into playing on a Monday at this beer garden. Like we had to finesse. But we did that beer garden, but you have to finesse. But now today's landscape, for example, is so different. Everything is rule-based. You can get canceled so easily. There's so many parameters that kind of prevent you from being a maverick. You know, and the biggest thing about being a marketer is being a maverick. We do the things that no one else wants to do, things that people are scared to do, right? But today, you have to do that so carefully. Like, you know, like if I'm signing a brand, for example, for an event, we don't break any rules. Like, I sit with the brand for maybe an hour. Like, my phone's busy blowing up because there's a brand that I need to conclude with. You have to sit with that brand and say, what are your rules and guidelines? What is your brand Bible? How do you want to be represented on the artwork? We send the artwork back to the brand before we even put it out. So anything that you see that's already
off the whim.
Nothing's bro. Back then we used to just wake up and just say, guys, let's go live right now, and then we'd start talking about it on Twitter and whatever. And before you know it,
the strategy's long.
Yeah. So before you know it, you have a 15,000 packs event. But now we have to do everything by the book, and the reason why we do it by the book is retention, right? It's very easy for you to get a brand and just take their money and then you don't deliver. We've seen in the industry, I mean, you've seen social media, you've seen the news.
Pay us late because of what niggas did.
100%. So now they've also become very strict. I mean, I think this is where the 60-day payment things and the 90-day whatever, but obviously there's a way around that, right?
Asking for deposit.
Oh no.
There's a way around the 90 days.
You keep asking me so many questions that I keep leaving stories like
The answers are more important than the right now.
Okay, cool.
You don't have 4 hours.
So the way around it, obviously, you need to get into a brand conversation where the brand has an agency. Because agencies, remember when agencies, and I just found this out actually about 2 weeks ago. If agency pays you, when agencies do immediate payments, their BEE points go up.
Okay.
So they need to do those payment things. I didn't even know. I just thought, you guys have agencies so we can cut the red tape. We can just go straight to payment or whatever. But apparently if agencies pay, like do an immediate payment or do whatever, they get BEE points, like their score points go up. So a lot of brands now have third-party agencies. So you'll find that Diageo probably has like a Sonic or Rasco or whatever. So what they'll do after you've concluded with them, they'll direct you straight to these guys. So you invoice the agency.
None of us actually do direct business now,
100%. So it's like what, 7 days max turnaround? Look, if you really, really, really need the money, you can push for that money to come in within 48 hours. We've been in situations where, for example, we had booked this international artist and we needed the money like immediately because this artist started becoming a diva. We had to literally call brand and say, yo, we need
X amount.
That 6 figures like now. And what they did is they directed us to agency. They said, bill these guys X amount and they'll give it to you within 48 hours. And before you knew it, we had the show. The show happened.
Let's pledge something in case we don't get to tell all the stories.
Yeah.
We're going to do this live. I feel like there's a bigger story that the audience.
There's so...
If you want to see this live, put in the comment, do something.
Do something. We're going to do this live.
Do a part 2. Let's do this live.
Yeah, because I feel like we've given people half stories of everything. I mean, I bet people want to know how the beer garden ended up. It ended up being on TV, on the news or whatever for public disturbance and everything. But yeah, after here we are.
We're close to 40 minutes in.
Yeah.
I need to ask you this question, then I'll ask follow-ups. What's your word to the youth?
My word to the youth: believe. You have to believe. Do you know, like, I feel like ever since any of us started what we do or whatever, people have always made you doubt what it is that you're trying to do or to doubt your vision. I mean, for us creatives is, you can pitch the greatest idea to someone or the greatest campaign to someone, and someone will have 50 things to say about something you created. They haven't even tested it or whatever. They've just said, it sucks. But you believed in it. You need to make that happen. So you need to believe. If I could speak to, say, 19-year-old me, believe, bro. Because if we didn't believe, we wouldn't have had that beer garden. If we didn't believe, we wouldn't have gone to Ghana. We wouldn't have then come out with a partnership with Jerk and Jollof, partnership with Afro Nation, Afro Chilla, Everyday People, whatever it is. Do you know what I mean? Because we believed. And everyone laughed at us. Because in our ecosystem, taking a brand property outside of just your city is already a big hoo-ha. Oh, wow.
Cape Town is the pinnacle.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, sexy.
Do you know, I think this year we were even going to host in Pretoria. And, due to unforeseen circumstances, it didn't happen. But we were actually sitting as a team thinking, we take this festival or this event property everywhere, but we've never actually done the provinces. We haven't been to Bloem, we haven't been to PE, we haven't been, but we haven't even done all the cities within Joburg. We just do Sandton, maybe we'll mess around and go into town or whatever, but because of the brand ethos and how we've built that brand, it has to happen in certain pockets of spaces, it needs to happen in certain places. But yeah, man, believe, you have to believe.
To add on to that, something I learned: don't move at your mentors or peers' timeline for you.
100%.
That's one thing I've learned, because people be like, it's too soon. It's not too soon. It's my mind. I had the dream. I have the execution. And
the reality is that everyone, maybe call it evolution. People are clever. People are so fast. We used to sit in boardrooms or in creative stations where you'd give an idea and for a fact that I'm the only one with this idea. But now, because of the internet and access to so many things, everybody is really clever. So if you don't go with the concept that I'm pitching right now, chances are somebody else is pitching this very same concept to someone else and they might run with it. Now we're going to look like we are copying these cats when they...
How's it been when they double back? Say, yo, David, we were wrong, man. We should have. Can we?
Look, brands and human beings are what would you say? They will never come, your older brother will never come back to you and say, I was wrong. But he'll start helping you. He'll start doing that thing that you suggested, but he won't actually say, you were right, you were onto something. So they just come back you still need them. And what we are trying to build is for entities and properties to get into a space where the brand needs you more than you need them. I promise you, I know it sounds cocky and it sounds arrogant, but that's what it is.
We get the brand, we get the thing, passes the finish line. How do we charge them? Because everyone at every level is still struggling with pricing their thing. Mm-hmm. I'll say, it's $100K to have David live, because we need to get speakers, we need to get the event venue, and that's just for you to brand the stage. How do we justify that pricing, and how do we actually price with our chest?
It comes back to you doing your research and knowing what the brand needs are. So what does it mean for you to have Booga Love on stage, for example? For the brand, what will it mean for them? Because that's how you're going to get down to the brass tacks of it, of actually pricing it. Because then, how many people are coming to your event? what is that LSM that is coming to your event? What's the demographics? What's that looking like? How can you take that and leverage that to brand? Because remember, brand promoter relationship is leverage. That's what that is. It's just a matter of, I have this, and I know you need this, so I'm going to leverage it with you. And I'm going to come, and I value this thing that you need at X amount. But here's the reasons why I value it at X amount. I have Skumbuzo, who is the greatest singer in the world. I have Margaret, or whatever, who is the best, wada.
So we have to give analytics to the scale of the people coming
to the scale. So it goes all the way down to what they buy. So if you are going to go speak to a champagne bottle, to a champagne company.
Hennessy, I hope you listen.
Yeah, for a champagne, say Moet, for example, you wanna get that Moet in there, right? Does your consumer drink Moet? I mean, like, we have to start there.
It's a daytime event.
Does your consumer drink Moet? So if you're saying it's a daytime event, that means you have an all-female kind of attendance, which means then that's who me, the marketing manager, is looking for. That is actually cool. But like, so you have to sit there, and I think that's why we've kind of incorporated the agency part of what we do, right? So RB Agency focuses on that. What does the brand need? So I always sit in any boardrooms we sit in, or our boardrooms or whatever, and I'll sit there and I'm wearing the hat of the marketing manager. So you guys are almost like you're pitching to me, but I'm part of this company and part of this journey or whatever. But I sit there and think, would I sign that off if I was still sitting on the other side? So it all boils down to, do you meet my KPIs? My KPIs. You see the ones that I have to go report to my boss?
Sure.
Can you help me answer those?
And then how do you deal with it when, how do I put this right? How do you deal with it when we propose to do 10 Never Rush Sundays, and then the reason we gave you that costing was because we're doing 10. Now you want to do 1. Do you go back to skyrocketing the price?
You don't skyrocket the price. Also, don't be a smash and grab kind of guy. You understand? So the smash and grab syndrome, I call it, is people take and then they leave. And that's it. So even if this brand